Imagine Jaedyn Shaw and Ashley Sanchez as the 2 10s. That is scary. Thinking about the way that Nahas has been able to adapt this team as well with the amount of injuries they've had, but they've stayed consistent the way they play. They like possession. They have self-expression from their players. A lot of combination play. It's Spanish style, Americanized soccer, and I'm here for it. I think Jaedyn Shaw fits that to a T.
An absolutely massive trade. This dropped on Saturday this weekend that U.S. women's national team forward Jaedyn Shaw is reportedly being traded from San Diego Wave to the North Carolina Courage. This is a huge move for the young player who spent her entire professional career in San Diego. She signed there at just 17, and now she might be going to play at the Courage. Sandra, what else can you tell us in this move? What else is out there about this news?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the fact that this was a requested trade from Jaedyn Shaw. Apparently, it was something that came up during their very terrible 2024 season. And so I think if you look at two sides of the coin here, you're looking at North Carolina and you're saying, that's a dub. What an absolute pickup and acquisition for North Carolina Courage. People are already getting exciting. How are they going to play together? She and Ashley Sanchez. What is it going to look like? And then I think if you're looking at the San Diego Wave side of things, it's just a little bit of continuity for some of the negative stuff kind of surrounding the club right now. There's definitely a layer of clouds. I think there's no secret about that at this point. And so while, again, I think I made this reference about Gotham about a week ago, that while a player a request for a trade might come up and you want to try and get in front of that and say, look how great we are at finding a partner and honoring this request. The other side of that is that the player wanted out of your club. So it's a little bit of a massive pendulum swing, depending on, the silver lining, which side of that silver lining you're taking a look at. But I think as far as for player, for North Carolina, it's a massive move. It's a massive pickup. And I'm not too sure if it's the only one that we're going to see for the Courage. They could make some other moves, I think.
What do you know that you're not telling us, Sandra?
Not enough, and I only share things that I know.
Guys, she's holding out for us. I mean, come on, Sandra. What can we ply her with? What do you love? What can we supply you? How do we extract this information ahead of time, Sandra?
I'm a simple girl. I like tea.
She's selling y'all out for a tea bag. I'm just saying.
Dee, this is a huge move. What do you think? What the heck is Sean Nahas building and concocting in North Carolina?
I mean, between him and Damon, they're building a dynasty in North Carolina for women's soccer. So I'm here for it, even though North Carolina rejected me. So a little bitter about that. But I really like this for Jaedyn Shaw, looking at the way that North Carolina plays, especially in that modified box. They have self-expression from their players. A lot of combination play. It's Spanish style, Americanized soccer, and I'm here for it. I think Jaedyn Shaw fits that to a T. And I also think this is a place where Shaw's going to be pushed to be better. Technically, tactically, she's around players that are just as good as she is on the ball, where she's going to have to keep improving. And I think Sean Nahas is the coach that's going to help push her to that next level. And you know what, with San Diego, I know we're going to get into that, but I also would not want to be somewhere, especially at 20 years old, and you have the world in front of you. There's a World Cup coming up. There's so many camps in between now and then, where you want to be at a team that's going to keep pushing you forward and has your best interests without all of the BS going on the front office side that clearly trickles down to the playing side. I'm happy for her that she's getting out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more players leaving, maybe to North Carolina, maybe to other teams that are in need of some of these really high caliber players from San Diego. But I think that this is a really smart move, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she's able to play with everybody on that team in NC. But I still think we're going to see more moves, either to NC, out of NC. I think it's not done yet. NWSL it's crazy this year.
It's absolutely crunch time in the trade window and January for teams and players to make moves. The next week, 2 weeks before everyone gets settled into preseason are going to be crazy. Remember, North Carolina also recently re-signed young Japanese international forward Manaka Matsukubo also to this. So we get to see Manaka with Ashley Sanchez again as they continue to build that partnership. But now you throw Jaedyn Shaw into the mix, and Sean Nahas does such a good job of putting players into positions to help them succeed, to grow their game, to challenge themselves, to expand outside of this potential box that they are in. And Jaedyn Shaw is on the verge of cracking even more potential because she's such a young player, and we saw her explode at San Diego, which called her into the national team. But there's a next level and another step for her. And this is a move and an opportunity that is going to be crucial for Jaedyn Shaw. But it also leaves behind a very big hole at San Diego. Christine, what possibly is the Wave going to do to fill these holes that they are continuously losing and leaking?
I mean, great question, but I think that I honestly have more question marks floating above the Wave right now than I do answers. I think there's still players to leave there before we start worrying about who's going to be like filling this hole that Jaedyn Shaw will leave behind. I know everybody's eyes already have turned to Naomi Girma to be like, hey, is she going to, hit the road and get out of there too? It just right now, it doesn't seem like a place that anybody's going to want to be. I don't know. I feel like they need to prove that they're somewhere that should be a destination. Not terribly dissimilar from like a Houston, but I feel like they're slightly better. But I feel like they're starting from the ground up again this season, and it's going to be a tough go. I don't know. I feel like there would have to be a lot of money in it for somebody to be like, yeah, let me go to this Wave side right now, and try to be that guy.
We spoke with newest head coach of San Diego Wave, Jonas Edeval, Sandra and I last week, 2 weeks ago, last week. I have no idea. Time runs together. But Sandra, you got to ask him if there's anyone that he wants to work with, specific players at San Diego. What do you think he knew? Take a listen, guys, and then we're going to dissect this after. Take a listen to Jonas Edeval.
I know for some coaches, maybe in their ambition, they relish to work with certain players, maybe star type of players. And for the Wave, they've got a number of those players, whether it's Kaylin Sheridan at the goalkeeping position, Canada's goalkeeper. A lot of folks are obviously familiar at this point with Naomi Girma. Are there any of these athletes that you're looking forward to working with in the club at the Wave?
You know what? I look forward to work with every single one of the players. I have to say it's such a privilege when you step into a new team that you're able to get to meet all these new persons to you, and you get to learn about their journey, about their background, about what motivates them, and what their goals are, and what their values are, and I feel like that part is so enriching when you come in and you work with a team. So this period here now, when you start to making all these connections, and I start to organize all these sort of now individual calls with all the players and staff, it's actually so nice to be able to get to know people like that, and trying to find ways to see like, okay, how can we work together in order to get the team to be as successful as possible, but also to help this person reach her own personal goals, and trying to find that common ground.
Okay, Sandra, he's not naming names for you. He's not letting you know the players he wants to work with. Okay, so he didn't necessarily leave a lot of meat on the bone for us to chew on, did he there? Perhaps Mindsets 2020? Anything we're gleaming from this now, Sandra?
Listen, I dropped a couple names. I was hoping he'd give me a couple too. Listen, there's nothing wrong if you're someone that's stepping into a new role, new position, new job, whatever. Maybe you're excited about the prospect of getting to work with someone new that maybe you're like really excited about. And I don't think that was an unfair question, but I respect that he doesn't want to maybe drop names when he hasn't even gotten to the club yet. Like when we did that interview, Lisa, he wasn't even in San Diego yet. So it does make you also wonder if like he has to get familiar with the players that he actually will have, because the truth is that trade window hasn't closed yet. It's coming up very, very quickly. And at this point, and in this stage in the game, there's been enough rumors about Girma at this point, and all of the attention that she's receiving, rightfully so, because she's the best center back in the world right now. But I think if you're San Diego, again, this just adds more of those layers to all of the complex things that are happening right now with your club. So not only are you dealing with this departure for Jaedyn Shaw, who you had just signed to a contract through, I believe it was 2026. Now you're dealing with all of these headlines about a potential transfer for Naomi Girma, who was also given a contract extension. These were two players that they were given these extensions, new contracts, because they were supposed to be these faces of the club moving forward. And now here we are, just like a year, possibly even less than a year later than some of these contracts getting announced, that they are potentially, to both of them, leaving this club. That's tough. I think not only for folks who are affiliated with the club, but I think if you're a fan, if you find yourself invested as a supporter, as a season ticket holder, you're like, what is going on, and what is going to be the next step? If these players are leaving, who are you bringing in at this point? And I think maybe that's where they're hopeful that someone else can come in and want to play for this club.
So what is happening with Naomi Girma? Anyone want to take a stab at it?
I have no idea, but it's tough to be in her position thinking that, she walked into an organization as a super young, talented player, defender of the year. The team won so much with Casey Stoney, to then Alex Morgan's leaving. You're seeing front office complaints of such severity that is scary to think that that's a space that you're working in. Your field is terrible. Your coach has got fired. You're in this almost purgatory the entire time this last season. I think you have to think long term about what that means for your career and how you want to develop. It's scary thinking this coach is coming in, didn't seem to leave on the best notes from Arsenal. It's still questionable what the hell is going on with the front office, what's happening with our stadium. We get third, fourth dibs on when we get to have games here and what the field is supposed to look like in these conditions. Now I'm thinking about my own health and safety going to these matches. There's a lot at stake. So if there's a more appealing offer, and hey, if teams are willing to pay, which I'm sure San Diego's getting a lot of money for Shaw, that's a way to offload, as sad as it would be to see Girma leave San Diego. I don't think she's going to, but as sad as it would be, that's an opportunity to then acquire players that, hey, we're going to try to build from the ground up. We're going to have a total reset year. Let's go back to playing some ugly football and let's get the players that we want and try to figure things out. But I don't think Girma's going to leave, because I do think if she's there, that is a players, especially her and Sheridan, those are two players you can truly, truly build your team around from the back line forward.
I agree.
San Diego only has so much pull with their beach and their palm trees, but when everything else is falling apart, it's not looking that appetizing.
Yeah.
Okay, before we jump out of this segment, quick answers, yes or no from each of you. With this new acquisition, Jaedyn Shaw, Manaka staying at North Carolina, what Nejas is building, can North Carolina Courage win the NWSL title this season? Sandra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm saying yes as well. Our folks on YouTube, they were not with us. 76% said no to that question. Only 24% saying yes. Have faith in the Courage.
Explain yourselves, chat.
No,
let me see it. What's the rationale?
Casey Murphy holding it down in the back. Like, really? That's a huge no. That's a big no.
Is a lot building. As we get closer to the 2025 NWSL season, we'll tell you exactly why and how North Carolina can do that.